if 10 people hear a story and like it, and on average, they pass it on to 9 other people. So maybe one person doesn't like it, 2 or 3 people don't like it that much, the rest collectively pass it on to 9 other people. Well, that's great. Now 19 people know that story, and then in the next cycle, maybe 27 people know it, and so forth. Only 100 people will ever get to hear that story before it fizzles out. But if the story is just that bit more interesting, just a bit, say 20% more interesting, so that instead of 9 other people hearing it, those 10 people share it with 11 other people, and that pattern continues. Now roll that cycle forward, and a month later, 1 million or 10 million people know that story. Wow, whoa. So think about this. That effort, that extra 20% effort to allow that story to cut through the noise and make people go, not just, oh, nice, but, oh, amazing. That's the difference between a 10,000-fold impact. So this completely changes all the rules that we normally have about work. We have this incremental view of our lives, that if I work a bit harder, I'll achieve a bit more. In general, that may be true, but in the world of media that you're entering, the holy grail is to find what cuts through, hits a tipping point, takes off, goes viral. That's when you get spectacular difference to your efforts. And so you can reframe, in a way, the topic of the book, infectious generosity, to ask them the question, well, what does it take to get good things to leap over that chasm, to get to the point where they are genuinely infectious, where people want to share them? And when you dig under the radar and look, there are thousands and thousands of instances of stories that have gone viral. They're not usually reported by the mainstream media, but people have figured out how to do this. And their playbook, like, how did you do that? What was it about that made it spread? That is what the book is about. What I think for you, in the world you're entering, knowing these skills will make the difference between going stellar and just having to labor like most of the rest of us. It's an amazing skill set. I haven't fully cracked it, but I have some clues. It's interesting, you look at someone like Mr.Beast. I'm guessing most of you know him much better than I do, Jimmy Donaldson. He spent years, starting as a teenager with a group of friends, trying to crack the code of what it took to create virality on YouTube. And they looked at everything. They looked at how are these videos edited, what are the storylines that work, what are the headlines that work, what are the picture images that work, that provoke people to share. And gradually, he figured it out. And what is amazing to me is that he figured it out in a way that is different from where most social media stars have done. It wasn't through spreading hatred and anger and dislike and disgust. It's by spreading amazingness and wow and hilarity and delight and, yes, generosity. Do you all watch Mr.Beast videos?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, have you had classes on him? No? Yes? I mean, there should be classes on him, honestly, because he's really cracked a code that is incredible. The fact that he's got more than 200 million subscribers, the fact that he can put a video out on YouTube and within a week, 50 million people have watched it. I mean, there's no multi-billion-dollar media organization in the world that can guarantee that kind of result. I mean, there isn't. It's incredible. It's incredible what he's achieved. And some people in my generation look at some of his stuff and say, I don't really know about the style, and okay, here's this kindness video, I gave 1,000 people their site. Isn't that a bit exploitative? Is he really tackling system change the right way? So you can nitpick at it. What I look at is, here is a guy, and I've talked to people close to him, he is the real deal. He is committing, I'm persuaded, his life to wanting to pay back and do the right thing and use this incredible platform he has for good. He's persuading millions and millions of people in your generation and younger that, among other things, kindness can be cool. I mean, that's amazing. There's no, I can't think of an equivalent in my generation. I mean, maybe there's, you can think of someone like David Attenborough, who's persuading millions and millions of kids to care about the planet. So that skill set, trying to understand that and then build on it for the world you're in, that seems to me what it's all about. And I would love to learn from you what you think the skills are. I talk about three main things in the book that I think as part of it. But I think you probably, because you live in this world, you grew up in this world, you probably have better answers than I do to some of this. So in the Q&As, I'm going to be asking you that question of what are some of the other parts of the playbook. But three things that is clear that he's got. One, emotion. So evoking emotion, that's essential to anything going viral. You watch his videos, you laugh, you cry, you feel the excitement or the delight or whatever on the people who he's helped, and you think this is amazing. So that's one part of it. Insane levels of creativity. His ideas are, they're just really surprising and delightful. And there's many others online who have done similar. I give the example of this samurai group in Japan. It was a group of friends who just wanted to clean up the litter in local streets. We might do that, organize a group of friends, volunteers, we're going to go out, and here's an idea, we're going to film ourselves and then put it on social media. So they did that, but they dressed up as samurai warriors, and they picked up litter with these dramatic flourishes. Here's a sword, boom, got the piece of litter, flip it up, someone else catches it in a basket. It's just amazing to look at. And those videos, of course, went viral. And so thousands of other groups were inspired to take part. So a little bit of nudge on the creativity side and a massive increase in impact. Super cool. Courage. That's a third one. The people respond to courage, to people being bold, to taking a risk, to doing things more boldly. Again, Mr.Beast certainly demonstrates that in some of the things that he's done. He's done stuff that is, I'm sure he was advised against it, put it that way. I was inspired by an African-American musician called Daryl Davis, who was puzzled why people in America, some people didn't like him because of the color of his skin. So he thought he'd go on a curiosity journey and try and find out. He invited to a meeting the local leader of a branch of the Ku Klux Klan.
I've seen this video.
A tense meeting, a very, very tense meeting to be sure. I think at one point in the meeting, they had these sodas in a thing, and like ice melted, and the stick dropped, and everyone leapt to their feet thinking a gun had been pulled. Somehow they agreed to meet again. They've built this weird friendship. Daryl Davis himself went to KKK rallies. Cut a long story short, this guy eventually left the KKK, and dozens of others followed. And it all started because of Daryl's courage in seeking him in the first place. That courage had another impact. Media. CNN was wowed by him. Why? Because you just don't get that kind of bravery normally. So they did a story on him. Millions of people found out about it. His TEDx talk has been seen by millions of people, 15 million people. And so from that act of courage, suddenly there are millions of people around the world who have been shown that there is this form of generosity that you can do in the modern era, which is to bridge, to have the courage to stand up and try and listen to the other side with respect. As you know, that is so hard to do right now. We loathe the other side, and so, if you show respect to it, you can get your head blown off by people on your side. It's really hard to do, but when you do it, it can be transformative. And if there's one thing that the world needs right now, it's people who are willing to do that. So anyway, emotion, creativity, courage. Those are three of the big catalysts, I think, to virality.